Tonight's League 2 card is not a slate where you spray bets across the board and hope something sticks. This is a card where a few matches give you real alignment between the numbers and the football context, while a few others practically beg you to stay disciplined and leave the side market alone. So the plan tonight is simple. We build around the matches where both layers tell the same story, and we treat the messy ones with the respect they deserve. Accrington Stanley against Crewe Alexandra is the first game, and this is exactly the kind of match where discipline matters. The model view keeps the teams almost dead level. The expected goals are almost identical, the 1x2 probabilities are almost identical, and the top score cluster is basically a tug-of-war between 1-1, 1-0, and 0-1. The qualitative read is a little stronger on Crewe because they come in with better momentum, more purpose, and a healthier overall picture, while Accrington look flatter and less convincing. But when the structural side is still this tight, you do not force an away winner just because the football context leans that way. The correct conclusion is that the side market is a pass, and the only usable pre-match angle is a mild under 2.5 goals lean. Barnet against Bromley is another game where the side market looks awkward once you combine both layers. The model gives Barnet the edge at home. The power profile is better, the expected goals lean their way, and the top projected scores put Barnet slightly in front. But the qualitative read refuses to make that a clean home play. Bromley still carry the weight of a top side, the wider match context gives them real respect, and the game itself looks more controlled than explosive. So while the model says Barnet have the edge, the football red says do not trust the side enough to build around it. That leaves the best betting angle in the total. This looks like a compact, disciplined, lower-scoring game. Under 2.5 goals is the play, and the side market is a pass. Bristol Rovers against Fleetwood Town is another one where the total looks cleaner than the winner. The model actually gives Fleetwood the stronger side of the match, or at least it does not give Bristol Rovers enough of a gap to justify confidence in the home team. The score cluster leans toward 1-1, 0-1, and 1-2, so the structural side is already warning against a comfortable Bristol result. The qualitative view still sees Bristol Rovers as lively at home, but it also treats Fleetwood as stubborn, disciplined, and difficult to break down. That mix creates conflict in the side market, because one layer says Fleetwood are the stronger structural team here, while the other says Bristol's home energy still matters. The most usable shared angle is a tighter game rather than a clear winner. Under 2.5 goals is the lean, but it sits below the strongest plays on the card. Chesterfield against Cheltenham Town is one of the more interesting merges on the slate because the two layers do not completely disagree, but they do create tension. The model clearly prefers Chesterfield. The home win probability is solid, the expected goals lean clearly toward the home side, and the overall strength gap is real. But the qualitative layer adds volatility. Chesterfield come into the match with key absences. The market is clearly respecting the possibility of goals at both ends, and the football context paints this as a more chaotic game than a simple one-sided home win. So the right read is not easy Chesterfield banker. The right read is Chesterfield home lean, but with game state risk and more openness than the pure score projections suggest. Chesterfield to win stays on the watch list, not in the top tier of the main card. Colchester United against Oldham Athletic is another good example of why the merge matters. The model says this game is virtually dead even. Home and away probabilities are identical, expected goals are identical, and the score cluster is telling you to prepare for a very fine margin game. But the qualitative side leans harder toward Oldham. They come in with stronger form, a healthier overall situation, and better momentum, while Colchester carry more structural doubts around them. Still, when the model is this tight, going straight to the away win is more aggression than the match really justifies. The cleanest merged angle is Oldham draw no bet. That respects the stronger football case for the away side without pretending the structural edge is larger than it is. Grimsby Town against Harrogate Town is one of the cleanest matches on the board and one of the easiest. Explain. The model is strongly with Grimsby. The expected goals are heavily tilted their way, the home win probability is one of the strongest on the card, and the power gap between the teams is massive. The qualitative layer backs that up completely. Grimsby have real momentum, real purpose, and a strong attacking profile, while Harrogate look like one of the weakest teams in the slate with very little evidence of a turnaround. There is no real conflict here. This is one of the best straight side plays on the board. Grimsby to win is a main card selection, and the more aggressive secondary angle is Grimsby on the handicap. Milton Keynes Dons against Barrow is another match where both layers pull in the same direction. The model likes MK Dons clearly. The expected goals favor the home side by a healthy margin, the win probability is strong, and the top score cluster points toward home control, especially through 1-0 and 2-0 type outcomes. The The qualitative view supports that. Barrow's away profile is weak, the wider football context is against them, and this looks like the kind of match where MK Dons should be able to reassert themselves. So this is not a complicated read. MK Dons to win is a main card pick. The more aggressive angle is MK Dons over 1.5 team goals because the game script does support the home side doing most of the scoring. Newport County against Crawley Town is one of the toughest merges on the slate because the two layers point in different directions. The model leans toward Crawley, and it does not make the under look especially strong compared with the best low-scoring spots on the board. In fact, structurally, this is not an automatic under game. But the qualitative layer paints a very different picture. It sees relegation pressure, caution, game management, and a match where neither side wants to blink first. That means the total feels tighter than the model alone would suggest. The right move here is not to force the away side, and not to oversell the under either. The best reading is that under 2.5 goals is still the lean because the football context is so cautious, but it belongs in the second tier rather than the core of the card. The side market is a pass. Salford City against Notts County becomes more interesting once the qualitative side enters the room. The model alone keeps this match fairly tight. Salford are only slightly ahead. The expected goals are close, and the score cluster does not give you a clean home blowout script. But the qualitative layer makes the home team more attractive because it is much less friendly to Notts County. The wider football red weakens the away side enough to tilt the balance towards Salford, but not enough to make this one of the strongest straight home win positions on the slate. That is why the merged angle is Salford draw no bet rather than blind commitment to the home win. The protected version fits the shape of the match better than the all-in version. Shrewsbury Town against Tranmere Rovers is one of the clearest underspots on the entire card. The model already points toward a low-event game. The overline is weak, the expected goals are modest, and the top score cluster is built around 1-1, 1-0, and 0-0. Then the qualitative layer steps in and makes the attacking picture look even worse. This does not profile as a fluid game, a creative game, or a game with much freedom in the final third. It profiles as a tense, scrappy, low-quality match where both teams struggle to create enough. That is exactly the kind of merge you want on an under. Under 2.5 goals is a main card selection. Walsall against Gillingham is another solid home side setup. The model gives Walsall the edge. It is not as overwhelming as Grimsby, but the expected goals still favor the home side. The win probability is clearly in their direction, and the overall structural view likes Walsall more than the market might fully credit at first glance. The qualitative layer is even more supportive. Gillingham come in with the weaker profile and more reasons for concern, while Walsall have the healthier overall setup. This is one of those games where the merge actually strengthens the home side more than either layer does in isolation. Walsall to win is a main card pick. The more aggressive secondary angle is Walsall over 1.5 team goals. So once the full slate is stripped down properly, the shape of the card becomes much clearer. The strongest home side positions are Grimsby, MK Dons, and Walsall. The strongest total positions are Barnet against Bromley under 2.5 and Shrewsbury against Tranmere under 2.5. Then there is the second line of plays, where the angle is real but the confidence is lower. That is where Accrington against Crewe under 2.5, Bristol Rovers against Fleetwood under 2.5, Newport against Crawley under 2.5, Chesterfield to win, Oldham draw no bet, and Salford draw no bet all belong. If I had to build the final shortlist from the full board, it starts with Grimsby Town to win, Milton Keynes Dons to win, Walsall to win, Barnet against Bromley under 2.5 goals, and Shrewsbury Town against Tranmere Rovers under 2.5 goals. Those are the cleanest merged positions on the slate. Behind them come Chesterfield to win as a more volatile home lean, Oldham draw no bet as a protected away angle, Salford draw no bet as a context-upgraded home spot, and the lighter under leans in Accrington against Crewe, Bristol Rovers against Fleetwood, and Newport against Crawley.